What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. In this video, we are jumping into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Last Ronin, Lost Years. This will be issue number 4. And so far with the Lost Years, we have been getting two different stories inside of this comic. We have been picking up with the new generation of turtles. And in present day, Casey Marie with her young turtles, they have grown both in stature and ability, each of them becoming accomplished fighters in their own right. But the pre-teenagers, they are still susceptible to the follies of youth. And so while Casey Marie does her best to train them up, Michelangelo has been going on a journey of his own. While tracking Deathworm's forces across Asia, Michelangelo was exposed to nuclear radiation. This is what caused him to temporarily lose his sight. But he turned this weakness into a strength. And just when peace had seemed like it was possible, Deathworm had struck again. And this ripped away all the hero's hope. Gaining his sight in the last moments only to see that those he cared about, they had all been vanquished. And Mikey was taken into captivity. So, make sure you guys have subscribed to the channel, make sure that you like this video, and with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright guys, we are picking up in New York City, present day. It has been 3 years and the turtles have grown. They're not teenagers just yet, they are just on the edge of being teenagers. And right now, they are doing a training simulation. As they begin to break into a facility, we see Uno, supposed to be pulling security, making sure that all of them are safe, unwilling to wait, lacking the patience to wait for the team to do what they need to do. Uno jumps into the fray, but in doing so, all of the turtles are taken down. And so while April takes all of the other turtles into the other room, Uno and Casey Marie, they have a conversation. Now, Uno goes on to explain that it felt like the others were going too slow. Uno had figured that they could get inside quicker and stop the bad guys and save the hostage. But instead, the bad guys had stopped them. This is where Casey Marie goes on to do a teachable moment. She understands all too well how hard it is to stay out of the action. Back when they were invading Roosevelt Island to fight Stockman, Master Michelangelo was in trouble, and so she broke from his plan to help him out. She was able to save him, but he said something that she would never forget. Mikey had said to stay put, that it was terrible discipline but excellent initiative, to never do it again. And at the time, she didn't truly understand, not at first. But after a while, she realized what he meant. Even though she had saved him, she could have put the other resistance soldiers in danger. She was supposed to be leading and protecting them. She totally lucked out that none of them got killed when she took off to help the sensei. Uno is their best fighter. Uno has been a natural since they were very little, and also extremely brave. But it's not about the one individual and their capabilities. It is about the team. They're brothers and sisters. Mojo and Odin, they had taken out the Sinjas. Yi was opening up the door. They were all counting on Uno to have their backs. By not trusting them to do their jobs, by not doing his, he let the entire team down. That you must sacrifice your ego, knowing when to lead from the front and knowing when to let others take the lead. Because great achievement is usually born of great sacrifice, and it is never the result of selfishness. That's what takes us to Michelangelo. Right now, he is in a death match. He is in a cage. After 3 years of nearly non-stop bloodshed, after all the carnage, after all the death, after surviving all of that, now he must kill his only friend. That is the spectacular Shaka. As everyone places in their bets, freedom for the victor, death for the loser. It is kill or be killed. And as this fight gets ready to get underway, Shaka tells Michelangelo that it is time and they must see this through. But after everything he has lost, so much more than he can handle, his real brothers, his father, his closest friends, but he knows that he has made his choice, and it is simply too late to stop now. And too late, that's the story of his life. Too late for Raphael, too late for Leo, Casey, April, all of them. When he was in the mountain, mountains, at sea, in the wastelands. The Troubles always found him, and for all that time, the Troubles always had the same name, Deathworm. A name without a face, relentless, haunting like a ghost in the dark. After that defeat on the riverside, they had put him into chains. They threw him in the back of a vehicle. For a long time, all he had to keep him company were the sounds of wheels turning and engines rumbling, the darkness, and all of his failures. By the time that they had stopped, he was hungry, thirsty, and too weak to put up a fight. Arriving at this prison, he figured it was just a matter of time before these guys had killed him. And at this point, he was more than ready to die. But he was wrong on both counts. Getting thrown out of the truck, he is introduced to Abigail Finn. Abigail is the boss of this compound, of this training facility. And as he looks around, we see that there are dozens and dozens of other monsters as well. As they clean him up, get him ready for whatever might go down, putting a micro bomb into his neck. This is a failsafe, ensuring Mikey does whatever he is told. Hosing him down, getting him nice and clean, they throw him into the cages. In these cages, he is left with the other monsters. As he takes a seat, on the other side of this cage, there is a human. This is the first time that he meets Shaka, and Shaka is letting him know that this is not the cage. This is their home. This is where they train. In the cage, that is where they fight. And in this moment, Michelangelo had made a friend. It turns out his new home is somewhere in Kazakhstan, an old beach resort that was really turned into some kind of twisted gladiator training camp. Humans on one side, monsters on the other. Shaka goes on to explain that they are all prisoners, and they are all forced to fight one another to the death for sport and profit. He also learns that this whole operation is death worms. Both Shaka and Michelangelo have one thing in common. They plan to kill Deathworm, but they must get out of prison to do so, explaining to him that there is no escape, that if you try to escape, they will detonate that bomb. You have to survive long enough to be freed or die trying. You gain freedom through the cage fights. Names are randomly drawn. Humans fight humans and mutants fight mutants. Single elimination. You die fighting or you die by remote detonation. The rumor is that they will be moving west soon for a final fight in Ukraine. The last human versus the last mutant. They battle for the big prize. That prize is freedom. And while talking to the ghost of his brothers, most of them are not on board with the idea of being in these kind of matches. That he made oaths. Now he has to decide if he is going to keep them. But it is the ultimate catch-22. He is damned if he does and damned if he doesn't. The ghost of Raphael telling him that they're overcomplicating all of this. That it's no longer about honor. Sometimes you just have to do what you have to do. And so he did. For 2 years, as Boss Finn's gladiator circus traveled west, he fought, he killed, he won. He did what he must to survive. It was the same for Shaka. And as their individual kill list had grown, they talked about their past. They talked about him being a ninja. They talked about his Swahili ancestry. They talked about the future. And now, the future is here, as these two friends battle one another in the cage in Ukraine. Michelangelo is telling him that he can't do this, but Shaka says that you don't have to, wanting Michelangelo to promise one thing. That when you get your pound of flesh, make sure to get one for him too. That's when Shaka takes that axe and he chucks it at the boss. When Michelangelo asked why he just did that, he said that he was making the noble choice, with Boss Finn saying to press that button. The bomb in his neck explodes, and Michelangelo watches as he loses yet another friend. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Alright, so when it comes to the next generation of turtles, we are really seeing them grow up. I did not expect them to do such a leap in time. but we have seen those young turtles go into their preteens, while they have yet to get to the age of what the turtles were when they first started doing all of this, when they started going out on their first missions. The next generation is slowly but surely becoming one hell of a fighting force, with Casey Marie doing her best to train these turtles up. They have come quite a ways in the last 3 years, and they are almost ready for their first mission. When it comes to Michelangelo, his story is still just as heartbreaking. Just as heartbreaking as every single story dealing with Michelangelo has been. The struggles, the trauma, the turmoil that he has faced along the way. Breaking oaths, having to kill, having to do all of this, only to watch friend after friend, loved one after loved one lose their life. The years have passed. He has been fighting in gladiatorial pits for years now, but the day is almost upon him for his return to New York City. But before his return, there is one thing that he must take care of. He must avenge his friend, avenge those that he has lost along the way. It is time for Deathworm to die. So let me know your thoughts, let me know your theories, if you would like to get completely caught up on everything going on with The Last Ronin. Be sure to check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. It will get you completely caught up on everything going on with this series. If you would like to support the channel, you can always do so by joining the channel membership. Much like Patreon, having multiple different tiers, from $1 to $50, from loyalty badges to comics every single month. Not only are you helping out the channel tremendously, but you are getting tons of perks in the process. If you are unable to do that, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, like this video, hit that notification bell, and with that being said, until the next breakdown.